read those drag lines? Is it the bust dart that's not big enough? Or is it something else? Hi everyone, I'm Glenda with SureFit Designs, whimsically referred to as Glenda the Good Stitch. Not very long ago, a customer said to me, how do you learn to read those drag lines? Well, she called them wrinkles. And I said, well, first of all, it does take experience, and it's analyzing where the fold or drag line is coming from, where it's going to, and then playing with the fabric to see how to remove it. So we're going to look at a situation today that might or might not occur when you're testing your basic bodice. Now, I'm going to be working on the SureFit Designs bodice front pattern. This is a pattern, of course, for those of you who are new, that gives you an opportunity to fit your body shape and size pretty much no matter what measurement you are. It offers you size ranges or measurement ranges from 28 inches or 71 centimeters to 62 inches around in your circumference, which is 157.5 centimeters. All you do is mark in your measurement dots, connect them together like our old dot-to-dot coloring books, and you end up with what I call your body blueprint. But I always recommend that you do a test garment to see how well it fits you. I usually get reports that it's the best of any garment that I've ever sewn, but I might have a wrinkle here or a drag line there, and I'm not quite sure what to do with it. So the focus of today's video is to take a look specifically at this bust dart, and did you give yourself a large enough or maybe small enough bust dart? Now, where you're going to get information to do this. First of all, you do need to know what bra cup size you are. Now, you all know that you can go from one store to the next, and in one you might wear a C cup bra, and in another store you might wear a B cup bra. And so those things vary, and as do drawing off your pattern and giving yourself the correct bra cup size. That varies as well. But we're going to start off with something as close as possible. In the dress kit instruction book, which comes of course within the SureFit Designs dress kit, on the bottom of page 5, it says Guideline to Determining Approximate Bra Cup Size. Well, there's two key words there. One is guideline and one is approximate, because this is only a guideline. So what I'm recommending that you do is measure your full bust circumference and then measure your rib cage right underneath your bust line. Subtract the difference between the two. Then there is a chart and it says what bra cup shape or dart shape you should start off with. Well, again, we have to use judgment and common sense. Now, also within the SureFit Designs dress kit, we have a template called the Adjust-A-Bust template, and on it there are 6 different bra cup sizes: A, B, C, D, double D, and E. So you choose the approximate dart width that is going to be best for your body, or at least that you think is going to be absolutely best for your body. And then you start drawing off your pattern. So now I am going to put up an example here, and let me get it pinned in place, and we will take a look at what's going on with this. Whoops, I guess I missed the tracing vellum there. Let me put that pin in again. There we go. That time I got it. All right, so we always copy our patterns off on a piece of tracing vellum. It's lightweight, see-through, it's a wonderful medium for doing our pattern drawing. And even though I've drawn in pen at home, you're going to be drawing in pencil, because if you have to come and erase your bust dart, you'll be able to do that very easily. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of examples of photographs of people who asked us, what's the matter? Where is this drag line coming from or going to, and what does it mean, and how do I get rid of it? So we're going to take a look at, first of all, this photograph that she's in, kind of a pinkish bodice here. And I want you to notice where the arrow is going to. You can see a fold line coming up from underneath her side seam and pointing towards the bust dart. Now, there are other issues that are incorrect with this particular bodice, but I'm not going to focus on them in this particular video. We're going to look at that fold line that is underneath her dart. And the next example that I'm going to show you is on this white bodice. Now, she has moved her arm away, which made it easier for us to see that fold line. And you can also see that that fold line is aiming upward towards the underneath portion of her bodice. But there's something else that's occurring in both of these, and that it is the side seam is too long. Now, when the side seam is too long, as that translates over to the back of the pattern, it means that the back of the bodice is going to be too long as well. And so as we correct this situation, we're going to give a wider dart, and it will automatically shorten the back side seam, and I'm going to show you how. One of the measurements that we take when we're doing our measuring is a shoulder over the apex down to the waist measurement. And that gets translated on this pattern this long, okay? Now, in both of those photographs that I showed you, the waist from shoulder down to, over the apex down to the waist in the front was an accurate length, but it got longer as it went towards the back, and then the back of the pattern was too long. So what we need to see is what size of dart, what bra cup shape did this particular pattern use. So let me get my template here. The Adjust-A-Bust template. It has on it 6 different bra cup sizes, and as they go from an A through an E, I'm just going to take this template down and I'm going to line this up, and I can see that it's a C cup shape that was put into this particular bodice. Okay? Now, the situation and the scenario that I'm talking about right now is irrespective of whether you're an A or an E cup shape. That fold line from the side seam pointing up to the apex could happen on any shape if you haven't put in the correct size of dart. So in this case, as I say, she is a C. And so I am going to change this dart, and I'm going to make it into a D cup dart. So as again, I'll look at my template. There's the C. I'm going to go to the D. And all of the darts have little holes beside them. All you do is mark through the hole that represents your bra cup size. So I'm going to do this one in red, so it's going to be a little clearer and doesn't mess with the black lines right there. Now, so that's the side legs of the dart. Now the fold line on this dart always needs to point towards the apex. And then you never ever stitch your dart right up to the tip of the apex. So there's a series of holes where you can mark back about 1 inch to 1.5 inches. So there's the dart tip right there. And there are my red marks on the side for the width of the wider dart. So I'm using the designing stylus, the straight edge on the stylus, and I'm just going to connect these lines together. And so now I have put in a D cup dart. Remember that we started off with a C. So now I've got a D cup dart in there. Now what we need to do is we need to measure and see what happened to the side seam lengths. So I'm going to measure the black line first of all. I'm going to start at the underarm point, and I'm going to go to the top leg of the dart. That's 2¼ inches. Now remember, I'm measuring the side seam of the black dart. So now I put the 2¼ on the black line, and I come down, and that side seam is 7¼ inches long. Now, I've just changed the dart, and I've put in the red dart, which is the D. I'm going to measure the side seam now that the dart has gotten wider. So I measure from the underarm point to the top leg of the dart, and that's 2¼ inches. And I pick that up at the bottom leg of the red dart now and measure down to the side seam, and that is now 6 3/4 inches long. So you can see that what I've done here is I've lost a 1/2 inch in terms of the length of the side seam. But I have not affected the length from the shoulder over the apex down to the waist, because that is correct. And so what happens is, as I then am drawing my bodice back, then this side seam is ultimately going to get shorter. And now let's take a look at the examples and the after photographs. I think you're going to agree with me. There is a tremendous difference. Here is the pink purpley kind of bodice. Look where the arrow is pointing. That after arrow is showing you that all of the wrinkle on that side seam is completely gone. It leveled out her waistline, and the whole thing is fitting her so much better. And on example number 2, again, take a look at what happened. This lady has a very short waist. Her narrowest part of her body is fairly high up, but look what happened to the side seam. It is so much better. The dart is bigger. The back waistline is fitting beautifully. And so that was the solution to solve the issue of that drag line going from here up towards the apex. Now, there's one more thing that I would like you to notice here, is that in this demonstration, I'm showing you only one line going around the exterior of the bodice. I did not intentionally put on seam allowances. The reason I didn't is because I didn't want to confuse you and have too many lines happening. But those of you who are not familiar with SureFit Designs, to add a 5/8 inch seam allowance, all you do is draw through the slot that is provided on this designing stylus, and the distance between the edge of the slot that's closest to the outside edge, when you take that away, that gives you a 5/8 inch seam allowance. So after you've made your modifications to your bust dart, then you will come back and you would add your seam allowances. All right, well, if you've enjoyed this video, and I certainly hope that you have, I encourage you to join the SureFit Designs community, and you can do that very easily by going to surefitdesigns.com. When you get there, there's going to be a pop-up. That's a pop-up to join the newsletter. It's completely free, and when you do, there are 4 free gifts to get you started. And while you are in YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do you know we have over 300 videos on fitting, designing, and sewing, all for your benefit. So I hope you stay and watch more. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.